By now, most of you have probably heard that the Midwest Conference Board of Directors has called me to serve as the bishop of the Midwest Regional Conference starting in August of 2020. It's a year from now. And listen, after some prayer, I've answered that call in the affirmative. Now, there are still a couple of confirmation votes that need to take place, but I am told that it would be rare if the call to the Midwest Board of Directors was not confirmed. And the Midwest Conference includes churches in Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. So it's a big geographical area. So even though Carrie and I plan to do quite a bit of traveling to some of those places, we're still going to live in Salina. This is going to be our home base. What that means is, for you, and me too, is that after August 1 of 2020, I will no longer be able to serve as the pastor here at Crossroads. And look, this was a tough decision for me because I love this church so much. Man, I feel like it's cutting off an arm to do something new in a way. I was here at its birth 21 years ago, and I love what it has become. Salina's Rock and Roll Rehab Church. Let's claim it, folks. Yeah. Church with a difference, where everyone is truly welcome. Really, truly. A church where changed lives are a regular occurrence. A church where every week we look forward to hearing how Jesus is working in someone's life. You don't get that everywhere. We are the Kingdom Jam Church. We're the church with a car show. We're the church with a rock and roll radio show. The church where we celebrate recovery every week. A church with one of the best and most experienced bands in Salina leading worship. This band has more years on it than Methuselah. And that makes for great sounds. When I came to Salina in 1998 to start a new church, I had no idea, I really didn't, that Jesus would do all this and that it would be this great. But that's what the Lord did with your help. And now that same Lord, has called me to a different kind of service. And that same Lord, same one, will continue to do great things here at Crossroads after I'm gone. Because God is good. Right? Yeah. And now, just like I was reluctant to leave the Zion Church where I started and spent 14 years over there in the Abilene area to come here, man, I feel a great reluctance to leave here at Crossroads. It's been my life for over 20 years. It's my home. It's like a child. It's like my child. And you have become my family. There's no other church like this that I know of. Listen, you got to get that. This is a unique place. But when I read the Scriptures, and when I remember that past experience of being so reluctant, I know that when God calls us to go, we need to go. You see, I learned something from that period of wrestling with God 21 years ago. It took me 2 years to answer the call. God cannot be out-wrestled. And so this time it didn't take me 2 years to say yes, because I see this invitation to be a bishop as a calling. Only God could work this out. Only God could make this kind of thing happen. And it does appear that it's going to happen. So let's talk a little bit about what comes next here at Crossroads Church, because this will no doubt cause some anxiety for some of you. First, you need to know that this is not something we haven't been thinking about at the leadership level. We've been talking about succession planning for 2 years at the leadership level of this church. Your church board had been working on this for 2 years. You see, because I'm no spring chicken. Well, neither are some of you either. But we've been discussing how to transition to a new pastor for quite a while. We just didn't know it would come in this fashion or in this time. I had already submitted a letter of resignation to the church board for August of 2021, letting them know that I would no longer be available for full-time service after that date. This call to become a bishop moves that up by 1 year. The Midwest bishop position is considered a half-time position, but my look at the job description and my experience tells me that it's going to take a lot longer than half-time. At first, I thought that perhaps I could do that job, and remain here at Crossroads part-time if the church board wanted that. But as I looked at that job and I talked to other people that have done it, I realized that that's not going to work. And so God appears to be setting this up as a time for a clean break. No one is indispensable. God is perfectly capable of running and growing this church without me. God has someone already in mind. You know that. Already, that will lead this church into the next decade. Because Carrie and I do not have to move, we will remain in Salina. We hope that Crossroads could remain our home church when we're in town. Maybe they'll even let me run the soundboard occasionally, or fix the lights, or make coffee once in a while. Nah, you probably don't want to drink my coffee. But the bottom line is that I will no longer be in charge of Crossroads after August 1st of 2020, unless you count the fact that I will be your bishop. And I will be watching. There's another thing that's important for you to know. Really, really important, because some of you have come up in different kind of churches. This church, Crossroads, gets to choose its next pastor. There is no church hierarchy that sends someone here against your will. A pastoral selection committee will be formed, and that is usually the church board with maybe some additional key leaders from the church. Pastor Ron Kramer will be heading that team up because he has experienced change in pastoral leadership a couple of times. He knows what he's doing. That team could nominate a pastor from right here within our church, or they could choose another pastor from within our region, or from a list of qualified and gifted candidates that Bishop Perry Engel will have available for that group. But it will be your decision as a church, not some big shot up at the top. The congregational membership has a say in who will become the next pastor here. Got to know that. So pray. Pray for wisdom. The choice of who will be your next pastor is yours. We are not a top-down denomination. We are more congregational in the way we do business. Now, Bishop Perry will be coming here at the end of this month to spend some time with the Crossroads leadership and to address us as a congregation. He will do his best to facilitate this change to the benefit of the Crossroads Church. He wants churches to grow. He's just like me. Having said that, in the end, it's God who's in control. Are you listening to me? Do you believe that? We sing a song here, "You are in control." Do you really believe it? This is going to be a chance for you as a church to demonstrate your faith in God, the God who loves you and cares for this church even more than you and I do. It will also be a time for some of you to step up and step out in ministry and leadership. Now, one of the things I've taught over and over again to the church planters that I've worked with, and this is a church planting, these 21 years that I've worked with them is that you have not planted a church until it survives your departure. And if it doesn't survive your departure, you didn't plant a church, you just had a fan club. And folks, I didn't come to Salina to start a fan club. I came to plant a church that would honor and love and glorify Jesus Christ for decades to come. Now don't prove me wrong. Don't let me down. Grow and prosper, Crossroads. You represent a significant work, not only in this city, but in our entire denomination. We've been a leader. Let's remain a leader. Don't abandon the work. Don't drop out because it's different or it gets hard. Now, someone once said to me, I don't think we can find anyone to fill your shoes. And I said, well, that's okay, because frankly, I wasn't planning on leaving my shoes. I'm taking them with me. The next pastor here will take you to new heights and new territory. Believe it and live it. Things must grow or they die. Growth always brings change, and change is always uncomfortable and comes at a cost. That's the Trinity of vitality. I've preached that for years. But meanwhile, we have another 10 months together. Let's make them good ones. Let's celebrate God's goodness, God's plan. Let's prepare to take it to the next level as God moves in all of our lives. Let's stretch and grow and change as God wills it. Let's prove to God and to the rest of our denomination that we really are a church with a difference in the months and years to come. And may God bless the Crossroads Church as we live in obedience to Him. Thank you for your time. Bless you all.